right now. There's reed diffusers, the candles, the plug-in ones, the sprays. Hi, Chrissie. All sorts of perfume give me a very bad headache and make me feel quite ill. This is Texter 244. The smell of scented candles in certain shops, I'm saying, for instance, this is Texter, top floor of Marks and Spencer, caused me to avoid those shops. I believe people are unwittingly making asthma worse by using perfumed products. Should we be worried, do you think, about the cleaners and deodorants and air fresheners that we use in our homes? To be honest, I hadn't really given much thought to it and the hidden pollution that some of them can give off. But we have been a bit spooked on the mid-morning show by newspaper reports this week that they could be doing us harm. Let's find out more from Steve Saxty from Airtopia. It's a social enterprise that tests indoor air pollution. Steve, hello, good morning.
Good morning, Chrissie, and good morning, everyone.
I love the name, Airtopia. How did this come about?
Well, we think it represents the perfect condition of air purity, and we would like to see that adopted as a word in the Oxford English Dictionary. We think it's that important.
What is it that you do exactly?
So we've set up an organisation that wants to address the issue of indoor air quality. It's a major issue. Professor Stephen Holgate of the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health has said several times this year that he attributes 40,000 early deaths a year to air pollution in general and over 9,000 deaths a year due to indoor air quality specifically. We spend 70% of our time at home, 90% of our time indoors. We're the indoor generation. And we each of us breathe 700,000 litres of air each week. So we're taking a lot of stuff in and we're putting a lot of stuff out. And we've spent 20 years sealing our homes up in the name of energy efficiency, which of course is laudable. But in the process of doing that, we've sealed our homes and made them hermetic. And now what we bring in stays in and what we breathe out stays in too. And we're not ventilating properly. And our grannies would say, throw the windows open. But that's not an easy solution for everybody because some people live in the centre of large cities where air pollution outside is an equal concern. But even if you live, like most of the people listening in Norfolk, live in an area of the country with pretty good air quality outside, your home could be many, many times more polluted indoors than it is outside. So it's a cause for concern, and that's why we exist.
It seems though this thing has crept up on us because we buy things to perfume our home, maybe because we want to disguise cooking smells or something like that. But are they all bad?
Yeah, generally speaking, and it's all a matter of balance, of course, but when we use an air freshener, generally speaking, we want to mask something else. So our general advice is look at the underlying cause first, okay? Because air fresheners are not good. I'll leave scented candles separately for a second because a bit of moderation required there, but air fresheners, generally speaking, they're putting out a lot of what we call volatile organic compounds, VOCs, and the average in the UK for VOC concentration in a home is about 1,000 micrograms per metre cubed. Okay, and that we would consider to be borderline in terms of impact on health, but that's the average. Okay, when we test homes, and we frequently do, where people are using multiple air fresheners, particularly the sort that you plug in and they puff, we can get well above 3,000 micrograms per metre cubed. And at that level, you're introducing particularly chemicals called terpenes into the air, and they can cause irritation, they can cause headaches, but more seriously, for those who are sensitive, those with respiratory vulnerability, asthma sufferers, for instance, they can cause quite significant reactions. So, generally speaking, if you're driving in your car and one of these things is dangling right in your face, one of those sort of little dangly ones, probably not a good place for it to be. And in the home, open windows before you use air fresheners, as long as you've got reasonable outdoor air quality.
And so I suppose if you're using these in your home and you go to somebody else's home where they have these, if you're somebody who suffers from asthma, that's likely to exacerbate the problem.
It could well do. Yeah, I mean, these are airborne chemicals, and if they don't need to be there, they're by definition preventable, and it's preventable in this particular case. We measure other things which you can't avoid, like carbon dioxide build-ups, and we all breathe carbon dioxide out. So that's a ventilation issue, and we look at temperature and humidity to check for the vulnerability of homes for mold growth. And we also check for the chemicals that mould gives off, so we can detect it if we can't see it. And the presence of damp and mould is one of the principal reasons people use air fresheners, of course, because they don't feel able to tackle the underlying problem, so they mask it with a nice smell.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you go into people's homes, Steve, and you look and you'll monitor what's there, how shocked are the people when you give them a rundown of the air quality in their house?
Well, frequently people don't think about this. We run home for sanctuary, don't we? We go home to be safe. We think that however bad things are outside, we're better off indoors in our own homes. And that sense of security is really important, and we don't want to do away with that for people. But we have to think about what it is that we're bringing into our houses and what we're breathing in. The cleaning products we use, the air fresheners, scented candles, they're okay if you want to create an ambience for a short period of time for a dinner party, but don't live with them every day. Your house needs ventilating. You can actually mitigate some things by having a decent amount of houseplants indoors. Mm-hmm. Houseplants are really good at absorbing things. And they will happily sit there in the corner of the room doing so. But the issue is ubiquitous. People are living with this all over the country. Just a thought. Most people don't open their bedroom windows at night and don't ventilate their bedroom very well. The natural level of carbon dioxide in the air is about 400 parts per million. And by the time you wake up in the morning, your bedroom can be touching 2,000 parts per million. So if you get up in the morning with the feeling like you've got a hangover but you didn't touch a drink the night before, the reason probably is that you're breathing in lots of what you breathed out. And it's suppressing your, the way you feel.
I'd never thought of that, but I can totally identify with that, with what you've said, because that's definitely happened to me sometimes.
Sure.
When I've, my head's been a little bit thick now, and I thought, I haven't had a glass of wine or anything.
No, you think you don't deserve this, right?
No.
this isn't fair. But, these are things we don't think about every day, and we should, because these are preventable issues. Imagine how much it costs our National Health Service to look after conditions that are being exacerbated by indoor air quality. And we reckon about 50% of indoor air quality issues are preventable through behaviour change. So if we could change a little bit, lots of people across the country could change a little bit of their behaviour, do a little bit less of some things, stop doing some things altogether and do a bit more of some other things, imagine how much we could save our exchequer and help our already...
Well, yeah, absolutely true. I've seen things on sale where they will claim to be organic. Does that make a difference?
Not really. The process of things entering the air, generally speaking, are generated by a physical process and the chemical makeup of the thing you bring into the house. The fact that something is organic generally means it hasn't had lots of intervention of artificial chemicals and so forth, often attached to food. Obviously, the less chemicals there are added to a process, the less likely they are to appear in your air afterwards. So, yes, of course, that's positive. But I'm not sure that's a big thing. The thing to watch out for is ventilating your home properly. If that's the single message I could leave people, that the first thing to do is make sure you open your windows a bit every day.
Just to change the air a bit in the room.
Just to allow the air to flow through. That's really important. And to understand what your home is doing, because another thing we find a lot of in domestic air testing is formaldehyde, which doesn't sound like the sort of thing you want to live with, does it? Formaldehyde occurs naturally in wood. And it forms part of the treatments and processes we use for processed wood and for fabrics and for soft furnishings and all of that sort of thing. So when you get your new pillow or your new piece of furniture, your new sofa, your new carpet into the house, you love that feeling of newness, and often there's a new smell associated with it, and often that's not very good. You really do need to ventilate, because we can't prevent the off-gassing of formaldehyde from new things.
Steve, thank you so much for having a chat to us today. Sure. You've really given us something to think about, and I can see the phone lines have been going whilst we've been talking to you, so I'm sure people have got some comments to make about that. That's Steve Saxty from Airtopia there. Now, has that made you rethink about the amount of fragrances, the amount of chemicals that you use in your home, and just have a count up right now of what you have in your house with candles and sprays and those reed diffusers. That's just looking at air fresheners. What have you got? 81333, and start your message with the word Norfolk.